Coming.
There it is. There we're live. I see it right there. Hey, welcome to the Arkin Brothers Talk About Movies. I'm Tony Arkin. That's Matthew Arkin. And today we're going to be talking about Step Brothers from, I don't even remember when. I think it was 2008. 2008, directed by Adam McKay, starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. All right. See you on the other side of this.
Yeah.
Talking about cocktails that are stylish, movies great or phony, and how Tony should win a Matthew, and Matthew should win a Tony. But in the meantime, talking about film in the meantime, the Arkin brothers talk about movies.
I sound great. Thank you. Okay, good.
Excellent. Yeah, you do sound great. We don't look good with that hair in that with the John C. Reilly and the John C. Reilly and the Will Ferrell hair.
Everybody looks good in that hair. What are you saying?
They look good. We don't.
I was looking at once again the opening title credit sequence that was put together by our wonderful producers, and I realized I've never made a list of all the movies that were in that newspaper, and I think we should make a list of those films and publish it, and then try to get through that list.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. Okay,
I think there's some great titles there.
Yeah, and they've come up with a list too for us to do.
Yeah, there's a killer list floating around here at the production offices. And I just feel like it's a new approach to this season, perhaps after we're done with Loving Brothers.
Yes.
Loving Brothers probably being some form of conclusion, if you want to psychoanalyze this.
Loving Brothers. It's been Touching Brothers up until now, and suddenly it's Loving Brothers. Wow.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe loving is better than touching.
Yeah, I think for the two of us,
it's a little bit better.
Definitely. Yeah.
Can we change that? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad the heat wave is finally kind of broken a little bit here in New York, and enjoying some 87-degree weather. How about yourself?
Doing great. Great. I got a nice bike ride in this morning before it got too hot.
Nice. How far did you go? How many miles are you? You doing miles or kilometers?
I do miles. Cheating? No, I do miles. I did a slightly shorter ride today. I did 12 miles today because I wanted to get back for the.
I don't do 12 of anything.
But I've got, since my surgery, it's been slow to get back on the bike, but I've gotten up to 16 miles is what I've pushed it up to there, and I'll try and get up to 20 or so.
Maybe do 8 miles and clean up your apartment for the other couple hours.
You don't think it looks good here?
I don't know. I don't think it's camera ready, but maybe it's appropriate for the movie we're going to do.
In honor of today's movie. That's my background.
I should get backgrounds and stuff. You're doing backgrounds. I feel a little bit left out. I got to get on this.
Yeah, I spent a huge amount of money on a green screen from Amazon. I think it cost me $8, maybe. Showed up the next day.
I'm not scared of that.
I'm investing. I'm investing in our future.
I'm willing to pay $8 for this show.
How was your week? Did you anything new? Anything interesting?
No, nothing new or interesting. No. Very busy, somewhat hectic. Barely had time to see this movie.
Yeah, I had the same issue.
This isn't to boast or anything or anything. It's just literally a fact. It's been boring stuff. It's not exciting things. I'm not like, oh, I'm so busy with cool projects. I'm somehow underwater all the time, and I can't quite get stuff done.
I understand. I understand. I had excitement, but I realized that my excitement is boring the hell out of everybody else, because all I talk about anymore with anybody get together is Batch 22, because it's running my life.
Right.
And we had our first event where we went to a fundraiser event where we were the booze presenter for at a big outdoor fundraiser for an ecological center down in Chula Vista, which is part of San Diego. Save the Bay, save the animals there, and it was beautiful. place where they have an aquarium and birds, and we had a great time at that. And then I created
an aquarium and birds.
Well, it's an outdoor nature. It's a nature center.
Oh, okay. Now I'm clear.
Nature center on the bay in Chula Vista.
I got you.
Called the Living Coast.
Okay. Do they have a Creatures of the Night exhibit, like with the rodent house?
No, but they had bat rays, they had owls, they have birds of prey. It's a wonderful center. If you live down in the San Diego area, take your kids there. Support the ecological system.
Hey, if I come visit, maybe you can take your little brother there, because I want to go.
Yeah, it was fun. But it was our first time putting our pop-up tent, with all our branding on it. And people loved Batch 22. They were crowding around and having sips. And what was funny was that people who had never tried aquavit before were trying it. And then a few minutes later, their twin would come by. Many times there were so many twins, and even some triplets and quadruplets and quintuplets at this event.
Interesting.
Who showed up to taste?
Because I heard there were only like 15 people that showed up, but they just kept coming.
No, there were I think close to 400 people at this thing.
Brilliant. No, that's really good, man.
And then we're pre-recording this, so I'm drinking water. I know this is strange, but it's only 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm drinking water.
Right.
But I did make a cocktail last night in honor of today's movie.
How'd that go?
Went really well. We created a cocktail called the Step Brother, which has Batch 22 as Will Ferrell, the star of the drink. And then John C. Reilly is Irish. So and this cocktail had things in it that you wouldn't think would go together, kind of like this movie. And then they end up going quite well together. So Batch 22, 2 ounces of
motor oil.
Right.
And
yeah.
Wouldn't think it would go together, but
it's delicious. Goes down smooth. Has a nice mouthfeel.
So tell me this. I'm sorry. Tell me the
That's okay. It's 2 ounces of Batch 22, an ounce of Jameson, Irish whiskey for John C. Reilly. And then we threw in half an ounce of Rose's lime juice and 4 ounces of ginger beer. And it was very tasty and very refreshing.
I like the sound of it, but I just, can I just say something? I don't want to be critical, but I think that you've made a clinical error in how you've cast the flavors of your drink. I think Will Ferrell's got to be the ginger beer, not the Batch 22. You can't.
You know what? You're right. We'll make Will Ferrell the ginger because he's a little bit of a ginger.
Because Batch 22 stands alone. It's Batch 22 plus other things that could be named, right? But you don't want to.
There we go. Okay, yeah. I think that's a better way to approach the cocktail recipes as we embark on this journey.
Right, because you don't want other people to take, Batch 22 and then say like, well, in my drink, Batch 22 is Richard Nixon. It's like, no.
No. Batch 22 is always Batch 22.
Right.
And it's funny that we're doing this movie starring Will Ferrell because we got a bottle of Batch 22 to Will Ferrell this week. He is apparently a huge aquavit fan. I may have mentioned this on the show already. I don't know. But he's a huge aquavit fan and throws an aquavit Christmas party every year. And through Dad's manager, we were able to get a bottle to him. So hopefully he'll want, if you're listening, Will, we will give you a case of Batch 22 for your Christmas party.
He's going to drink it and he's going to go, oh, that feels so good going down into my tummy.
Yeah.
Didn't he say that in the movie? Well, that's very exciting. That's very exciting on today's episode of Life in the Batch.
Life in the Batch. Maybe we should move on to movies. People don't want to hear about my cocktail life.
Well, as long as it includes, parties, you had a great story. Yeah, you have a party. Very much like the party at the end of the movie that we saw.
It wasn't as fancy. This Thursday night, we're going to one that's fancy, like the one at the end of the movie. We are doing an event called Culture and Cocktails at the San Diego Art Museum. And there's a Picasso exhibit there, and they've created a signature cocktail using Batch 22 called the Ice Cubist.
Excellent. I see what they did there. That's great.
Really well. And so that's a dress up event that we'll be at, a very dressy affair at the San Diego Art Museum this Thursday. So that will be more like the end of this movie.
Right. Excited.
I'm not great at this Hallmark stuff.
Yeah. If Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly had come to the event we had this past week, they would have done unnatural things to the animals there.
That's why I was at the Creatures of the Night. Look out.
That would have been bad. If their characters showed up at a nature center, they would have. Yeah.
Before we begin, I just want to give a shout out to somebody that we lost this week. Somebody that both Matthew and I remember from our childhood. Mr. Mosley passed away. You're looking at me quizzically.
Oh my goodness. It took me a moment because we know another Mosley, and I was like, who? What?
Oh, I'm sorry. No. Yeah. Roger E. Mosley.
Roger Mosley. Wow.
Did you not know that? I'm sorry.
I did not know he had passed away.
I thought you would have heard. It happened a few days ago. Yeah, Roger Mosley.
I have a scar on my hand from a tennis match with Roger Mosley.
That's right, you do. Was he a bad loser or something?
No, he was a professional athlete.
Yeah, he was very.
And I was at the time a fairly good tennis player, and he was not a tennis player. He was a football player, but a professional athlete. And I won. We played tennis, and I won the first set. And I thought, well, I'm a better tennis player than he is. He's a better athlete. I'm a better tennis player. I won the first set. And then he's like, let's do another set. And he used pro athlete mind games on me and won the second set. And by the end of the second set, I had a blister on my hand. And so we're 1-1. He's like, come on, let's go again. And we went again for a third set. And by the time that set was over, which he won, the blister on my hand had split open, and I kept playing. My hand was starting, and it didn't matter, and that was when I learned that it's not all just skill. There's a mental aspect to
the old sports games.
Yeah. To the old sports games. And he knew it, and he knew
how to do it.
And he won.
It's also possible that he also just turned on the power after the first set. It was like, I won't go easy on him then.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe.
I won't go easy on him anymore.
Yeah. But it was a hard fought 3 sets, and he won.
The Battle of the Champions. Well, of course, I grew up with him. I met him on the set, but then, as you know, I was as big a Magnum PI fan as they had back in the 80s.
You were the biggest Magnum PI fan.
Well, I have a few other friends who would fight for that title, but
I don't know. I don't know if anybody else wrote a novel inspired by their fan love of Magnum PI.
Oh, I'm sure there were many fan fiction novels written about Magnum.
Probably
many more scintillating than mine. Many of them probably
is great, and it's a fan love mashup of if Magnum PI met Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Pretty much, yes.
We have Captain Kawaii.
So I was
a terrific novel that hold on, people should know about this. That you're a published author with a wonderful book out there.
Well, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you. This is very old history. The book is no longer really available, but
but it was actually published. My book was self-published, so it's a whole different ballgame. Yours was published.
Yours would have been published if they had publishers anymore. I would go back so far with that they actually had publishers when I was writing.
They didn't really have self-publishing back then.
Well, not really, not like they do today.
Not now. Yeah, not like now.
But I was a pretty big fan, but I mean, the co-host of my other podcast, Rated P for Paranormal, Maddie Blake, huge Magnum fan. He would fight over the title over biggest fan.
Yeah, well, I'll take him on any day. I've seen him.
Justin, good old Justin, big fan. Anyway, I'm the biggest fan. We lost Roger Mosley. Very sad. And that's the show. Thank you for tuning in. It's so nice to see you.
Catch up next week again. Matthew and Tony catching up with each other.
Exactly.
That's what we should change the name of the show.
We should.
The brothers catch up with each other.
It's a lot less work that we have to put into it.
Yeah, then we wouldn't have to watch movies and take notes.
I was just like, how you doing? I'm all right. How you? I am okay.
All right.
Brothers, this is why we met.
Yeah, that's it. So I guess we should.
That's such a funny line. We're brothers. This is why we met.
Maybe we should talk about this.
Let's talk about Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the movie Step Brothers from 2008, starring Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, Richard Jenkins, Mary Steenburgen, or Mary Steenburgen.
Gergen.
Sorry.
Yeah. Adam Scott, Kathryn Hahn.
Kathryn Hahn. Yes. Seth Rogen. Many people in the movie.
Yeah.
I assume you've seen this before.
I had not seen it before.
What?
I don't
really.
I don't think I had seen it.
That's
before.
Interesting. This is one of those movies I just assumed like just that everybody's seen. Just everybody saw it, but
no, I should have.
Did you see the other movies that this trio did together? Did you see Talladega Nights or Anchorman?
I've seen Anchorman. I haven't seen Talladega Nights.
Well, Anchorman, I guess Reilly's not in Anchorman, but you saw Talladega. And those made such an impression on you that you decided not to see the follow-up film.
You know, I have to admit that I have only recently become. I used to, I think, take things a little too seriously. And I used to think, oh, that stuff is too silly for me. And I don't feel that way anymore.
Says the man who likes Michael Bublé.
Oh wow. You're wow.
Hey, we're doing Step Brothers. We're doing the movie. We got to take the gloves off on this show.
That hurt me so bad.
Oh, come on. No, I mean, silly is great. We all love silly. Everybody's got a silly thing, but I actually, that surprises me because you like a lot of silly things.
I do.
And have gone to bat for them on this show. So I you know.
Yeah, I don't quite know how to describe it, but
maybe it's that like Saturday Night Live, movies that stem from Saturday Night Live weren't your thing, as they really weren't for me either.
Right.
Kind of until these movies, in a way, they were hit or miss.
Yeah, but something shifted for me, and I have fallen into just adoring them.
What shifted? What shifted?
I think I'm not sure. What shifted? I started needing a little more silliness in my life.
You just needed it. Was it like, can I tie it to an event like the crash of 2008 or Donald Trump becoming president or something?
No, you know what it is? It's a thing about Will Ferrell where you know how there's certain people who do something and you don't necessarily think there's a certain kind of comedy where somebody will do something that's, you think, okay, that's not funny, and then they do it again and you're like, it's not funny, and then they do it a third time and they're so freaking committed to it that it then starts making you laugh, and then you start going, okay, it is funny, and it keeps, and they stick with it. Right. And he is so committed to that character, that sort of vapid, stupid.
You're talking about Ferrell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, whatever that dumb look is that he puts on his face. And it at first I'm like, I think the first time I saw it, I was like, I don't think it's that funny. and then he freaking wears you down, and then you can't stop laughing at it.
I was I kind of got with him pretty quickly on SNL. Like I remember falling for it right away. Like kind of digging that. It was so refreshing to see somebody just play this most idiotic white dude you've ever seen, and it's just so true. So much of it, you know, and you're laughing at at parts of yourself in a way whenever he pulls that stuff. I guess I had a harder time transitioning with him to movies in the first place. Like I had a prejudice, I guess, about Saturday Night Live performers going out to make movies because I don't know, as someone who was trying to write movies, I was like, God, how easy is this? Like you do, a character you haven't really worked on for a couple of episodes of a show, and you've got a 3-picture deal. But
screw you.
A lot of those movies are actually really funny. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how they're made, Yeah. I had to lighten up too a little bit, because generally, I guess I can relate to what you're saying. I think I liked my comedy, or I thought I liked my comedy maybe a little bit more sophisticated, or I thought that I did, or I was being like fancy about it. And admittedly, I like well-written comedies too, because this is not a well-written comedy. It's not a written comedy.
There are things that are so wrong. Like
I like both of us like a little bit of literateness in our screenplays, I think, and in the stories, and that's a hurdle. That's a little bit of a hurdle with this movie.
Wait a minute. Do you mean
big fat curly-headed fuck?
do you mean to say that the transition in this movie might not be where they change, where they really have an awakening and they change? Do you mean to say that might not be sufficiently motivated and undergirded by the events of the plot, that it just sort of happens?
Yes,
because they need and want it to happen?
Yes, that's pretty much what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I, for my money, I don't know how you fall on it, because this is why I was asking whether you knew, like, how well you knew Anchorman or Talladega Nights, because I'm a bigger fan of those movies than this one, and I like this movie. I mean, I laughed my ass off again at this movie. I primarily because of these two guys, though. Like, I was enjoying the movie, but I was really there because the things these two guys were doing.
Yeah.
Anchorman is a brilliant idea for a movie, kind of across the board, as is Talladega Nights. They're both more sophisticated stories and worlds that they're trying to depict, and I feels like they worked or sweated a little bit more over quality control over the screenplay or the premise or the stories in those two movies than they did here. And it feels a little bit like, when it's not working perfectly for me, it's just a little lazy. Maybe they didn't think they had to,
Well, and especially with, material that is as deep and serious as this material. The issue of blended families is something that really affects. I'm sorry.
I'm having trouble.
I'm not going to call him Dad.
There's something wrong with my.
I went off. So
excuse me. Could you?
Well, but Adam McKay apparently wanted to make this a serious movie.
Well,
and you could make a serious movie about stepbrothers and the issues that come up when people get married and their kids suddenly have to live together. I went through some stuff I'm still having PTSD over with my stepbrother.
Yeah, I think that's a valid thing to try to want to do with this movie. I mean, I think it would still work as a comedy with some drama in it. Like, I feel like I may be wrong about this. Maybe somebody can help me out with this. Was there a Dutch or like movie from the Netherlands that this was kind of based on? I feel like No,
Steenburgen?
Yeah, sure. Something like that. No, I feel like there's I'm maybe I'm misremembering this, but that it shares some DNA with a movie from Sweden or Norway or something, someplace in the frozen northern hinterlands of Europe, that dealt with similar things, but in a more black comedy, dramatic, more black comedy, you know. And
Right.
I think that I have a lot of opinions about that. I think this would be great as that kind of movie. And I just don't see Adam McKay as being the guy to pull that off. So I don't know where to take that. Like, I think it's a good idea, but why would Adam McKay say that?
Right.
I mean, his idea of a serious movie is, let's face it, semi-serious at best.
Yeah.
So,
and there were scenes in this movie that reminded me of, you know, when I had a stepbrother for a little while and was suddenly sharing a bunk bed with a stepbrother, and we lived at the beach, in Avila Beach in California, and we were running around all the time with no shoes on, so we had these hard calluses on our feet from the sidewalk and the beach there. And my stepbrother used to chew the calluses off his heel at night, and it would make a noise, and I would be screaming, "Mom, he's
no,
he's chewing his feet again."
He was chewing on his own feet?
He's chewing on his feet. And that's a scene that you could have in this movie.
Hey, I never asked you. Yeah. Do you like guacamole?
That's my childhood right there. That's my childhood right there.
So from Alexis, she's informing us that according to McKay, he got the idea from someone mentioning bunk beds, and he thought about two grown men, stepbrothers, having to share a bunk bed. Thus, the idea was born. I believe it. I certainly believe that that's where that is the genius light bulb idea that inspired this movie. Yeah, I mean.
So that's a scene that, to me, it's very funny, but you talk about story structure, and it's just like, I've got an idea. Let's have them be sleepwalkers.
He sleepwalks.
Dale sleepwalks too. Come on.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Just out of nowhere. Let's just do it.
Here's the thing. I have a weird kind of, I'm torn with this movie. It's not love-hate, because I don't hate any of it, but I love some of it, and I'm really disappointed in other parts of it. I don't hate it. I'm just seriously disappointed. I'm like, really? You have the studio backlot at your disposal. You have all these technicians. You've got a lot of people here to help you make a movie. And this is where we're going.
You'll be on in a month. A month.
I also feel, and I'm going to take it down to the basement. This is Basement Town. This is as dark as I'm going to go about this movie.
Okay.
Here's where I get a little upset.
All right. I'm
You're taking arguably, well, not arguably, I say that all the time. He's one of my favorite screen actors, Richard Jenkins.
Yes.
I think the man is incredible. One of the few actors I'll go to a movie just because he's in it.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
And I haven't seen anything he couldn't do, any mountain he wasn't willing to climb and do it kind of perfectly until a few of these scenes in Step Brothers. And I gotta lay that at Adam McKay's feet. Same with Mary Steenburgen. Same with everybody but Will and John C. Reilly is pushed to be funny and I can see the pressure on them to be funny and make funny things and pull faces. I can see that at work, and it bugs me because Richard Jenkins is actually funnier than he is in this movie.
And I fuck up. To your point, I think one thing that might have facilitated, fixed that, and actually facilitated this becoming a much funnier movie. And I already love the movie and think it's very funny. And
yeah, I do too. I'd see it again right now.
But that could have really elevated it to a higher plane of comedy, is if everybody else in it had been playing it straighter in the face of the insanity that they're.
I agree.
Instead of trying to get them to be a little bit in that, to straddle into that world.
I totally agree. I deeply agree with that. I think that is a thing that keeps this movie from being one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. Because, you know, like, and it's frustrating when a movie that I really like, I mean, I love this movie, I would see it again tomorrow, but when I think, like, what's wrong with it is kind of a lazy attitude that if they addressed it with the same people, they could have had a movie that was like one of the great comedies. Like, literally.
Yeah. Somebody, though, one actor straddled it, I thought, really, really well, though, was Kathryn Hahn.
She was hysterical.
Her flip over that line from being in one world to suddenly being insane and in their world.
Oh, she was hysterical. Yeah.
Completely
because
got me.
You believed the pressure totally. It was real for her. The nightmare of her life was very real for her. Yeah. She was great. And I'm not, look, Jenkins is great in some scenes. Steenburgen is great in some scenes. Adam Scott's great in some scenes. But collectively, I feel the pressure of people that weren't on Saturday Night Live or aren't just kind of like part of the people just like in the helm of this movie who knew what was going on. I felt a little bit that they were at a disadvantage, that they were not doing the best that they could do because they hadn't been they weren't part of somehow part of it.
Yeah.
Can I come over this afternoon and touch your face?
So, okay, we're going to get over to like all the stuff that I'm nitpicky about first, because there's gold.
Let's get to the stuff that's great.
But no, I'm not quite ready to do that. Because here's where I feel like I'm almost ready to do it. I guess why I get upset about this is because this movie at its heart is a pure surrealist movie. Like Anchorman also is really a surrealist film, but this could potentially be like a surrealist movie along the lines of Buñuel, like one of the ultimate surrealist filmmaker. And it has a lot to do with the fact that the crazy choice, which is so wonderful, of having them playing 40-year-olds who live at home, but they're really playing 12-year-olds. There is nothing about them that is adult in any way. They are literally 12 years old. And so the joy of it is watching two adults be treated like 12-year-olds by other adults.
Right.
And it's crazy. It's surreal. It's funny. It makes a comment on family life that couldn't be possible with playing it any other way. But I don't feel like they trusted the genius of it. Like the genius of that. If they'd played it a little straighter, they could have had something to me that was even more special than it is.
I'm sorry? What did you
You're
just
just
say?
coming off stupid.
I'm coming off as stupid. You're wearing tuxedos to a job that requires you to clean bathrooms.
I like. Yes. Who is that actor? I loved her.
Don't know. Why are you asking me if you loved her?
I neglected to.
Because that makes me either look stupid or like I don't love her, and neither of those things. Well,
get out of my office.
I neglected to get her name down to give her a shout out because she was really terrific. All right. Things I love. Are we done with the things that were bad?
Probably.
Yeah. My low point in the movie was the sleepwalking scene.
Totally not for me. I love the sleepwalking.
Low point. Oh, love really?
It. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of loved what they were doing, but I hate it. I didn't get why it was like where it came from. Like, let's just throw this in.
Low point for me, the job interviews.
Oh.
Lowest point.
Okay.
Gillian Vigman is the actress you were.
Gillian Vigman. She was great. Very funny. All right. Most outrageous moment in the movie for you?
Nothing really beats
It better be the same thing that I'm saying.
Touching his drum kit with
Nuts
a part of his body.
Nuts on the drums.
That is
was
rubbing his private parts on the drum kit.
Yeah,
is great. And so, I mean, let's face it, the behavior we see here, I can attest to the fact that most of this stuff is stuff that young guys do when they're 11 years old.
Hey, Adam had a drum kit that he loved that he didn't want me touching.
You didn't
ever. I did not do that.
Just brilliant.
Adam and I did do stuff like that, however.
Knocked each other unconscious.
Yeah. I think the thing that was most Step Brothers like that I ever did to Adam. Have I told this story on the show before? I hope not.
You told a story about something like this last week, but I don't remember if you're going to tell that story again.
The marshmallows? Did it involve marshmallows? Oh, Adam was really nauseous once, really sick to his stomach, I think, because he'd eaten too many sweets. And he went up to his bedroom to lie down. And I went into the kitchen and I took an entire bag of marshmallows and put them in a bowl and stuck my hands in there and started kneading them together. And you know how when you knead them together, they just turn into like this taffy mess?
Well, I would imagine that's what happened.
They mush into one big glob of like taffy. And I did that with an entire bag of marshmallows till it was just this glob all over my hands. And I went up the stairs to Adam's bedroom and opened the door and walked up to his bed and said, "Hey, Adam, want some marshmallows?" And he looked up at me and threw up all over the place.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember when I had my first beer.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And that was like, I think maybe the most Step Brothers thing that I ever did. To Adam.
I think they're starting to like each other.
Yeah.
Well, there was every time, I mean, you and I were like riding in the back of cars going like, "Don't get over my side of this. Don't touch my side of the seat. Get your hand. You're touching my side of the seat." I mean, that was constant.
Yeah.
Yeah, they captured some magic truth here, I believe. I mean, performance-wise, these guys, I mean, the two of them are great. Without either of them, it's a mess. Without John C. Reilly, I don't think that the sun will come up tomorrow. We need him. He's so good.
Oh,
he is one of the gems of movies to me. I mean, his level of commitment and unself-consciousness puts to shame almost any other actor's ability to be committed and unself-conscious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
It's one of the things I have in my notes is like, where does that come from? The ability to be that shameless, there's, I mean, I've always felt like, one of the things that there's very little about being an actor that requires courage. We're up there fooling around. One of the things that requires courage, I think, is to reveal parts of yourself, behave in ways that might not look very admirable, and trust that the audience is going to know that that's not you.
We like the shit with the door open.
These guys are willing to. There was a line like in Dinner with Friends that I didn't want to say because, and I really didn't want to say it because I thought I couldn't wrap my head around like that people would think I was saying that, and of course it was one of the biggest laughs in the show. And I always said it in a way that trying not to be heard. But they're willing to just be right out there with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Putting your nuts on some drums, even though they're clearly
they were not real.
Clearly a prop.
They were not real. Sophia is saying here from production office, Jenkins and Reilly knew each other from when Reilly was 6 years old. Richard Jenkins worked with John C. Reilly's dad. That's crazy.
He drove like a linen delivery van for John C. Reilly's dad or something like that.
I want to see that movie. That's like a 1920s
Richard Jenkins as a linen delivery driver.
Yeah, working for John C. Reilly's dad, with John C. Reilly as this character, as the son, treating Jenkins badly. That would be great.
And to your point about, you know, what they were doing, Jenkins said, Sophia is letting us know that Jenkins said, it's hard. I don't have any improv experience. It doesn't mean I haven't played around with scenes and things like that, but these guys are really fast. It's been an incredible test. And that's to your point, you know, that they were not accommodating to actors who were not.
No, they threw them in. I mean, admittedly, McKay is basically, you know, has said as much, that it's like, you know, like in a day or two, they get their bearings and they're great. And it's like, okay, great. Well, in a day or two. Meanwhile, are you going to reshoot that day or two that they didn't have their bearings? Probably not. You're probably going to use that stuff where they were floundering because you're saving time. And I get it. There's a, I don't know. I know I wouldn't be very good in that situation unless I was set up with somebody I knew and I could hang out like I was just hanging out with my friend and the camera was turned on me. You know, like if you get the idea that you're relaxed enough because it's partly your idea and you're friends with Will Ferrell, like the two of them are friends and McKay's their friends and they can hang out and goof off and smoke weed and make a movie on the backlot, burning studio money, doing silly stuff. I like that ethic. That's a very funny thing. I just this one doesn't have the teeth that Anchorman had, because Anchorman to me is like, I can't get enough of that one. That blew my mind when I saw that. When I saw that in the theater, that was one of the great comedy, like one of the great movie experiences I've ever had.
It's gold.
And I didn't get that from this, but I would watch this again. I mean, these guys are hysterical. Do you have a favorite? You must have several favorite lines.
I have several favorite lines.
Is your favorite line, "I'll kill you, Leonard Nimoy"?
I have down, waking up to I'll kill you, Leonard Nimoy. I can't even say it. He says, "I'll kill you, Leonard Nimoy," and the other one says, "The clown has no penis." That's when they're lying asleep on the lawn, and they wake up, and one of them says, "I'll kill you, Leonard Nimoy. The clown has no penis."
Yeah,
that's.
Mary Steenburgen is one of her great moments because she's just so disappointed in that. She's just like, "Oh my God, what are you dreaming at night?"
Yeah. Then I have it was Johnny Hopkins and Sloan Kettering, and they were blazing that shit up every day. That was
you like that.
I love that. I had to go back and replay. Got a luscious V of hair going from my chest pubes down to my ball fro. I had to stop the movie.
Yeah, I know.
I started crying.
There's some things you have to stop.
And I mean, when they're talking about the Brennan has a mangina incident, and Mary Steenburgen is describing, you know, he started chanting it, and then all the other guys joined in, and then the parents joined in, and I have to admit that I sort of joined in for a little while as well. That she says that she admits that she started joined the Brennan has a mangina chant against her own son.
Incredible!
Like, oh my God,
it's incredible. I love the very simple moment when Kathryn Hahn is sexually attacking John C. Reilly in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And John C. Reilly is kind of having his first sexual experience. So you get the feeling he just says something's happening. And I absolutely fell apart.
Yeah.
I fell apart. I mean,
and I love that at the end of that, she's walking away. She says, "Stay golden, pony boy."
I mean, okay, it starts really early. In fact, I started laughing immediately because the opening the opening thing you see is a title card that has a quote from George Bush on it.
Oh, yeah.
And the quote is, "Families is where our nation finds hope, where wings take dream."
Yeah.
And
an actual quote,
which is literally Yogi Berra level greatness from George Bush. Let's face it. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to reach for that.
And then you've got wonderful things that happen, like when the worst thing that they can possibly do to punish them for having that fight on the lawn is take their television privileges away.
No television for a week. What?
And their reaction, but Ferrell says something to the like some of the effects of, "Are you insane?" like it's literally a bad idea.
Yeah,
I just think it's hysterical.
I love, speaking of the television, the movie that they're watching on TV is Steven Seagal's first movie, Above the Law.
Yeah.
And that's the movie that they picked, which is just perfect.
That's what I watched back then.
Yeah.
That's what I was watching when I was their age.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, couple of other lines. Your voice is like a combination of Fergie and Jesus.
I love their formal meeting when they finally meet across the lawn, and the title actually takes up the space between them, and they're facing each other.
Yeah,
just the way that they say, "You can call me Dragon," and Will Ferrell says, "You call me Night Ranger."
Yeah,
that's so good.
Pretty good stuff.
The slapstick is great. You know, the drumming is great. The song, I thought I was gonna die at the end. I thought I was gonna die laughing. Not that there was something wrong with me, but I was laughing so hard
when Will Ferrell is singing the
his big song at the end.
Their
duo. Oh my god.
Yeah, and the thing is about that is that he can. I mean, perhaps he can sing incredibly well in real life. I don't know. He sings almost incredibly well.
I have to say, I think he was just doing the best that he possibly could.
Best that he possibly
could. I've been called the songbird of my generation.
Yeah. I think they were both doing as good as they possibly could in that moment, because he was playing the drums also.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What? Oh, no, keep going. You were doing more favorites.
No, my lines were over.
Okay, then I want favorite moments or scenes, because I have some of those.
There's big killer moments throughout that, they're hard to, you can't dismiss, like the schoolyard fight and the callback at the end. It's genius. There's a shot at the end when they're fighting these 8-year-olds on the school. I love that they do it. I mean, that they beat up children. I just think it's incredibly great. But also,
well, it should be done more often.
When they do that jump, like karate kick spin, where they go in slow motion and the camera's going around them, kind of like in Matrix time, and they have the doves flying around behind them.
Yeah.
Like ripping off the John Woo movies.
Yeah.
That shot is great. And also, I got to say, I got to ask, how long did Adam Scott and Will Ferrell work out that hug at the end of the movie?
The hug is brilliant.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
The most complicated "don't touch me" hug I've ever seen.
Yeah. Zombie escape from the grave.
Great.
What are you doing? I'm burying you. I'm alive! I'm alive! You're waking the neighbors! No. Shut up! Now I'm gonna play your drum set. Close your eyes. Let the dirt just shower over you.
Let the dirt just shower over you.
I love that they kill each other in this movie. That they do that.
Yeah. Richard Jenkins' dinosaur story was pretty great.
Pretty great. Pretty great.
That's so funny. Last time I heard that, I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaur.
Nothing. Yeah, the dinosaur callback too. The son has a dinosaur thing too.
Yep.
Nothing. Oh, the lumberjack and the centaur.
The centaur scene was.
I couldn't believe it.
I could have watched that whole movie.
So he's singing. They saved the day by singing. playing drums and singing, which is something they had fantasies about doing when they were little kids.
Prestige
and there's
worldwide.
There's a snafu and a thing, and the business is tanking, and someone's going to get fired, and oh, what do they do? And so they save the day by singing. And Will Ferrell sings, what is it, Andrea Botticelli, or what's the song? Who's that song from?
Andrea Bocelli.
Andrea Bocelli.
Yeah, Andrea Bocelli.
Andres.
Right. Yeah.
And so he sings that to a drum accompaniment from John C. Reilly, and it's pretty fantastic. And there's some fantasy sequences that happen that the music is so magical that it creates, you know, like a psychic healing rift for everybody. Por ti volare, the song Will Ferrell's character sings at the Catalina one. Por ti volare, which is, can I borrow your car? I think, right?
Yeah. For your Chevy.
Fantastic. I also definitely enjoyed Horatio Sands doing the late 80s Billy Joel cover band that gets into the alley fight with people that want to hear the doo-wop Billy Joel. I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Phil Lamar, who plays second home buyer when Adam Scott is saying, yeah, you can have your homeboys, you know, out here on this great lawn. And he's like, you can just say it's a nice lawn.
That's a great moment.
Yeah.
That was a great moment.
Because Phil Lamar was
he's in Get Shorty, yeah.
Well, he was in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's definitely in Pulp Fiction.
He gets shot in Pulp Fiction.
But he went on to do, isn't he in Get Shorty?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he has a wonderful role in that, on season 2 of that. I think he plays an executive.
Yeah, I think.
And he also gets his head blown off in Pulp Fiction. You were definitely right about that.
I shot, what was his name in... Yes, he plays Brandon Fisher in Get Shorty, and has one of the funniest moments in that entire show. And there were many. But I shot what was his name when he gets shot in the backseat of the car in Pulp Fiction. What was his name? I
don't know what his name is, and
they go over the bump, and he gets his head blown off.
He gets his head blown off.
It's
hysterically funny.
It is hysterically funny.
It is, and every time it happens, and it happens a lot of Tarantino.
Marvin, I shot Marvin. He goes, "Oh shit, I shot Marvin."
Yeah,
yeah.
It's always funny, and then I'm always like, "Oh,
yeah."
Is it bad that I'm laughing?
Bad stuff. Yeah. Sex during Christmas. The sex during the Christmas dinner between Kathryn Hahn and John C. Reilly when the door opens. That's always made me very uncomfortable whenever that's happened. Wait a minute. It's never happened.
It's not we can cut that out of the show.
Hello, how are you? Fight
Okay. Let's talk about where the movie does get kind of deep. I did think that it does have one of the better interpretations of symbolically what it means to be an adult. It happens in this movie. And
I haven't had a carb since 2004. See these boys?
That's so good.
Yeah. But the fact that it's going to Target or Walmart and buying a jumbo pack of toilet paper
and feeling good about it,
that really signifies the transition to adulthood.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty accurate.
I do too.
Right? I mean, that's what it means to be an adult, to know that you're going to need stuff to take care of your problems before you need it.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I couldn't agree more with you, especially after the the toilet paper scare of 2020.
Yeah,
these things are serious.
And then I have to make a confession about the end of this movie.
You cried.
I did get a little bit.
You guys worried?
I got
I'm not great at this Hallmark stuff.
Because I'm an idiot, and it doesn't matter.
No, there's just something wrong with you. You're not an idiot.
There's something wrong with it. It doesn't matter how good or bad the movie is. When things get healed and there's a coming together, I get misty-eyed, and I was like, "Oh, you can't get misty-eyed at this," and
it's you know what all it is, Matthew, is you are susceptible, probably genetically susceptible to a music cue, and at the right time. if it didn't have the swelling strings behind these moments in these comedies that of unearned emotion, you'd never fall for it. It's an editor trick. They're making you do it.
Yeah, I cry at commercials.
It's you can, there's a pill for that now. You can that's easily changed.
Who would you recast in this movie?
Well, this is actually great. I'm glad we're on to this subject now, because there's something that our producers notified us about, which I then looked up real quick before I left, because they had a link to an interview with Joaquin Phoenix, who is reported to have seen this movie more than any other movie that he loved.
You've watched the movie Step Brothers more than any other film. Okay.
Later on, he does admit that he has it. That's true.
I don't. Step Brothers. I assume you love that movie. You didn't see it more times than any other film, though. It's impossible. I feel like you. I don't know what.
I have.
You really have?
Yeah.
That's the one?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's the one?
Yeah.
That's good. That's it. I love hearing that. We got a little fact from Joaquin. Who knows if it's real, but that's cool.
No, it makes total sense to me, because the level of abandon in terms of the acting from these two lead performances is really extraordinary. Of course, he's going to be into that. He's going to love that. I had no idea that was the case. I didn't know that Joaquin Phoenix ever saw this movie. I really didn't know.
That's amazing, because you guys, like, you hang out all the time.
We used to. Now it's like Adam McKay and Will Ferrell. We don't talk.
Right.
But used to, back in the day, we were very tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, they split up. Sounds like McKay was kind of a jerk. I don't know. But
well, he owns that he made a mistake. So,
yes,
he says he did it badly.
Well, he says he picked what he picked, kind of.
Yeah, but then he said he handled the telling, the reveal poorly.
Okay, well, so that's not the jerky part. Fairly sure he's not hiring me, so I don't really care.
Right.
But anyway, I had no idea that Joaquin Phoenix loved this movie. So when I was recasting it, I thought of this thing that I heard Adam McKay say, that I wanted to do a serious version of it. So I said Joaquin Phoenix and Vincent Gallo should play the brothers.
Okay.
With Werner Herzog as dad, and Jackie Weaver as the mom, and Robert Pattinson as the younger brother. I would see that version. And I want to take this a step further and not just cast it, but find a director for it as well.
Okay.
And in that case, I would definitely have Lanthimos direct this movie. The guy who directed The Lobster and Dogtooth, because Dogtooth is also the movie I would see as a double bill with this.
All right, well, I didn't go quite as deep as you, but I went the same direction. I didn't do director and stuff, but I cast the brothers and the parents is as far as I got. And I wanted Daniel Day-Lewis and Benedict Cumberbatch.
You got half of that just exactly right.
Half of it?
You want to punch me right now, but you won't. Punch me in the fucking face! Oh! Oh, shit.
Such a well-timed stunt. That was so well edited and shot. So good.
And so you argue with one of those, Daniel?
No, I
Day-Lewis?
just Cumberbatch. I've once you get into the Marvel universe, I'm like, I don't.
Oh, I'm going Cumberbatch from the.
I know, but I can't get it out of my mind.
Okay,
I can't get Dr. Wizard out of my mind, and it's ruined everything for me. I
And
can't see Power of the Dog after I see him do wizard fingers with a cape. I just can't do it. So
Fingers.
stop.
Wizard Fingers is not the name of the character.
It's the name of the movie, isn't it?
And the parents, Anthony Hopkins and Helen Mirren.
Ooh, that's good. That's great. I love that.
And the what would your double feature be with this?
Dogtooth.
Dogtooth? I don't know Dogtooth.
You should remedy that.
Okay. I said an entire Brady Bunch marathon.
That works. That works well.
This is the funnest night ever.
This is so scary.
Reilly's laughter, his giggling at stuff like that kills me.
Really did. And how do you watch this movie?
I think the best way to see it is having it play silently in the background in a very serious doctor's office waiting room.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
What about you?
I said in David Friedlander's basement with the entire cast of Spring Finale 78 after the closing show.
Taking it to a real personal memory lane for you. That's great.
Yeah, because David Friedlander's basement was where all the making out and the all the
David Friedlander was your best bud when you were in high school. Right?
Yeah.
Justin Stangl, David Friedlander.
Yes, there you go. Get them together. Well,
who are you? Who am I? We didn't do that.
Oh, you are. I thought you'd be John C. Reilly's therapist.
Okay.
And
including the love interest part of it. Oh no, that was Will Ferrell's. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I thought
memorable part. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I didn't put either of us in memorable parts. I made myself Brian Husky, who was one of the interviewers.
Oh, I put you as Seth Rogen.
So let's do this. You guys are hired. You're in, unless you're like the weirdest guys ever and I don't see it.
Great.
Oh my God. And Elia, our producer, cut that fart down to about 10% of the actual fart goes on.
Let's not give the secrets.
Come on.
Let's not give the secrets of production away. Keep it magical.
Magical.
I have you're Seth Rogen and I'm Horatio Sands.
Horatio Sands was the singer?
The Billy Joel singer.
Billy Joel singer. Okay. I like yours better than mine. You did a better job than I did.
It's just opinions. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. Well, yeah, there is, but not in a fun little talk show.
Well, next week we get a little more serious and do a movie that I'm ashamed to say. Our producers think that both of us are part of the pugilistic kid gang. Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. I'll take that.
Yeah, me too. Next week, we're getting a little more serious and doing a movie which I'm ashamed to say I've never seen. Rain Man.
That's yes. Well, a lot of. I mean, I can see why you wouldn't see it.
Get out of my office!
I saw it, begrudgingly when I saw it. So
really? Okay,
yeah.
All right, so you understand. All right,
yeah.
Good.
I'm curious to see what it is. I don't remember it, but
yeah, I don't remember it either, having not seen it.
Let's just put it this way: it has all the things about it that I don't like.
Okay,
but maybe I'll like it. I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll tune in next week and find out if Anthony and I like Rain Man. And we'll see you then.
We're not going on the boat. Derek's selling the house. We have to go to therapy?
What the fuck happened?
Hey!
Wow.
I'm gonna watch it again tonight. I know.
Talking about cocktails that are stylish, movies great or phony, and how Tony should win a Matthew, and Matthew should win a Tony. But in the meantime, talking about film in the meantime, the Arkin brothers talk about movies.